Good morning, Algebra 1. You're gonna have to bear with me today. I'm using a new camera thing, so my paper, I gotta figure out how to move it and stuff. And it's gonna look a little bit different to you guys. But today we're gonna be doing Algebra 1, Apex Semester 2, Chapter 3.5. So we're going to start by talking about nonlinear system of equations. So we've already looked at systems of equations, and that's where we had two lines that crossed, or they were the same line, or they were parallel. And we had to solve it, and we had to decide where did they cross, or did they cross. So today we're going to talk about two or more equations that are solved together where at least one equation is linear. And the equations, nonlinear. And the equations have at least two variables. Okay. So nonlinear, two variables. Okay. So once again, it doesn't mean that both equations have to be nonlinear, but at least one of them. Okay. It's not going to be a line. So the solution set of a nonlinear system of equations is all the x and y values that make all the equations in the system equal. So it's all the points where the graphs of all the equations in the system cross. All right, so let's take a look at the different options that we have. So this system has no solutions because the two graphs will never intersect. So if I have parallel lines, okay, they're never going to intersect. Now, when we were working with linear systems, it was two lines, but now it's going to be something like maybe this line and a parabola over here. Okay, so those would never ever touch. So that's going to be no solution. Okay, one solution would be something like a parabola, okay, touching on a line where they touch just in one spot. Okay, so that system is going to have one solution. And a graph that has two solutions would be like, once again, we'll use a parabola. Sometimes you'll have circles and stuff, but we're not going to talk about those a whole lot right now. Where we would have a line going through it and it touches here and here. Okay, so two solutions. Okay, so we're going to go on ahead and get to solving these. We're going to start with substitution. So remember, you can use graphing, elimination, or substitution. So we're going to talk about substitution right now. And notice it says check your answers. Okay, we want to make sure that whatever we find are the correct answers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see here that I know what my y equals, and I have a y here. So I'm just going to substitute this x plus 2 in for y. Okay, so it's going to be x plus 2 equals x squared minus 4. Okay, so now remember, we're solving. Anytime we're solving, it's got a squared in it. This is going to be a quadratic, so I have to get this side equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides, and I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So that's going to give me a 0 on the left, and I wind up with x squared minus x. There's no like term here for it to combine with, minus 6. So now, how do I solve a quadratic? I factor. Okay, so what multiplies to negative 6 and adds to negative 1? So my factors of negative 6 would be negative 1 and positive 6, or positive 1 and negative 6, or 2 and negative 3, or negative 2 and 3. Okay, my numbers that add to negative 1 that are here would be this pair right here. So my factors then are going to be x plus 2 and x minus 3, and we're going to set that equal to 0. Remember, we have to actually solve. So we need to find out what our x is. So x plus 2 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0, and we're going to solve it. So subtract 2 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 2. Here, I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get x equals 3. So now, looking at this, I have two different x values. That means I'm going to have one coordinate with an x of -2 and one coordinate with an x of 3. Okay, so now I have to plug both of those back into either one of these equations to find my y value. Okay, I'm going to plug it into this top equation because that looks easier. So this is the first thing we did. Second thing we did. Okay, now we're on our third thing. Okay, we're plugging it back in. So -2 plus 2, and that's going to be 0. So my coordinate there is going to be -2, 0. And here I'm going to plug 3 in. So 3 plus 2, and that gives me 5. So that's going to be 3, 5. So let's go on ahead and check our answer. Okay. So -2 plus 2 is 0, and my y is 0. So those equal. Let's do that here. -2 squared is 4. 4 minus 4 equals 0. Okay, so those check. Okay, so let's go on ahead and do it the same thing for 3. So I'm just going to write check down here and just plug it in so that you guys can see it in case I'm struggling. So my y value here is 5, and that has to equal my x, which for this answer is 3 plus 2. So 5 equals 3 plus 2 is 5. It checks. Okay, so then I know that these two are the answers. So this parabola and this line are going to cross at these 2 points. And that's it for 3.5. Have a great day.